What's up, everybody? This is Jerry Chidester, and this is Chit Chat with Chiddy MD. I am that person, Jerry Chidester. That is me.
Every week it's him.
It's me every week, same dude.
He's still
a little more hyper right now. I was just doing.
Does MD still
So
stand for
hyper
medical
right now.
doctor?
I'm hyper. Well, I just had him kick. We were just talking about this. Yeah, still stands for medical doctor. I had a Mountain Dew, and I was practicing a TikTok dance. So I was like, it was an Ariana Grande song. It's like super intense. So it just got me all like.
But remember how last night I tagged you in my Instagram so that we could be held accountable? What did I tell you?
Well, I can't clean the house while I'm here.
Oh yeah, that he couldn't do TikToks until he cleaned the bedroom.
Yeah, until he helps.
I paid attention.
Okay, I watched it. I won't finish the TikTok. I won't actually post it until that's
This
done.
is my fault. I scheduled this time. I'll go home and clean your room.
Okay, Ron's gonna come help me. So I'm trying to think last week because we're alternating. Yeah, we had a week off because we're alternating. We're doing a little mini series. It's called Augmented Reality. So Ron's a producer for that as well, and we're kind of doing a week in the life of us, the Chidesters, and starting our new practice.
It's like catching up with the Kardashians, except catching up with the Chidesters.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Keeping up or catching up?
Well,
Catching up because it already happened.
I was trying to avoid copyright lawsuit
okay.
infringement.
I like that,
Got
catching
it.
up. So that was good. I don't know. I think we got a pretty good response. A lot of people seem to like to watch us fail. No, I'm just kidding. To just watch us learn and grow. No, it's fun. And then you can definitely see, when you watch it, you see who's the boss. Mindy's the boss. You see where's the pants.
It is me.
On the dress and the pants, whatever. It's Mindy.
I thought about zooming in on that sequence where she like grabs your face in
yeah.
the store and tells you
Yeah.
to
that's a
show just
normal
how
thing.
powerful she is.
Yeah, well, if you watch the bloopers here, you should tell me, she's like, you need to chill out, dude. You're like hyper. You look like I got ADD or something.
Yeah, like throwing it down.
Maybe I do. I don't think I do. I was hyper from that. Anyway, you guys, we have an awesome
This is how all our
special.
podcasts start.
Yeah, this is like a Seinfeld for millennials. We call it. It's like literally talk about nothing. Okay,
It's really
we're gonna talk about you
It's
today.
okay. No
You are something big. So that
Oh,
we're gonna talk about you.
so
All this stuff I'm saying right now is like nothing. But anyway, let's just go introduce ourselves again, and we'll introduce our guest too. But go ahead. Who are you? Who are you?
I'm
Be
you.
somebody
I am
different. Be somebody different. Let's have our alter egos.
Yes, I know. Who should I be today? I guess I'm still Mindy. I'm wearing the pants today, especially. Putting
Well-
kibosh on TikToks.
That's okay. She's got to put me in check. I'm silly Jerry Pants today.
You are.
I'll be Tron from the Gringo too.
Oh, nice. That's gonna come.
Ron's twin cousin or twin brother.
And then I want to introduce our special guest, and maybe Ron, you can add more details too.
Sure.
But this is Tiffany Stosich. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Stosich. Okay, we talked about this. It's Croatian, by the way. It's cool.
Croatian.
Croatian, yeah.
I'm not Croatian though.
Yeah,
It's
but the
her
name
husband.
is.
Yeah.
It's her
Like
husband.
Chidester's English. I don't claim England.
Yeah.
I'm half Thai. I claim that, but I don't
I
claim
don't know.
England.
I'm pretty
We
just
can
white,
kind of
so-
claim England now
I'm
with
pretty white.
the royal family, part of the royal family moving over
That's
here.
true. We're all royal now.
We are.
King Ralph was prophetic. John Goodman. Anyway, well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of things we want to talk about today with you specifically. But can you maybe tell us a little about yourself, like where you're from, where you grew up, kind of the basics, like if you were, like on a, I don't know, a blind date with somebody, just meeting the first time. Like, what'd you tell them?
So I'm from.
You're on a date with us right now, and our
your,
viewers.
What's your Tinder intro?
There you go.
I didn't say Tinder. I left it at blind date.
There you go. I grew up in West Valley, so I'm 36 years old. I'm married and have 2 young daughters. Really into bodybuilding. That's probably why I'm on here, because we're talking
you do?
about bodybuilding. Yes. And so I've been bodybuilding since I was 17. I've competed pretty much for 13 years, and I love natural bodybuilding.
Her
It's like
Instagram
my
is
life.
tagged, and she looks amazing.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
I mean, even right now you look amazing, but like in those bodybuilding pictures, like wow.
Thank you.
So we've known each other for about 20 years. We both worked at Pizza Hut when we were in high school. And I've kind of just followed her periodically here and there. And I noticed that, she started getting into some serious bodybuilding, and thought it would be super interesting to have her come on and tell that side of her life on here, as well as, she has some things that align with you, Jerry, as a plastic surgeon. So I thought, we could kind of talk about how those two worlds collide and, go from there.
Yeah, so Yeah, first off, yes, bodybuilding. We're going to talk about that. But I do have a lot of patients that do bodybuilding. You know,
They're very into fitness.
yeah, very into fitness, bodybuilding. Bikini competitions, all this stuff, and it just amazes me for one because the amount of dedication that has to go into it. I get a glimpse of it, when they're posting things on Instagram and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's really cool to see, patients come in. I've actually had some patients who started doing it; they'd never done it before, so it's really cool to see their progress and where they get to, and then to see them on Instagram and their posts.
And not only their body transformation, but like their mental transformation as well. It's
that's
really
what bodybuilding
impressive.
is. It's all about mental. It's funny
so
people think they can
impressive.
just go to the gym, but it's more than just that. It's like your whole life is just eat, train, sleep. Think about bodybuilding. You think about posing. You think about all the things all day long, getting on stage. And it's funny, I even dream about it like all the time. I have like nightmares usually about like either not having my tan on or just like forgetting my suit or my heels. So it's just like you're always thinking about it.
Wow. So how do you manage that with being a mother of two? Like just my interaction with my two kids and seeing what my wife goes through like on a day-to-day basis. How do you find time, or how do you organize your time to be a mother and still give all your energy to that?
I think it's throughout the years I've done it so long that you just get better and better, and it's also just like comes second nature to me. It's really easy for me to be a mom and be a competitor and have that balance between those two. A lot of bodybuilders don't have families, and that's like one of the things is like they put all of their effort into that, and I feel like I've just learned through like all the years of just balance between the two, and I don't make excuses for it. Like, yeah, it's hard. It's very hard. Like some days I don't want to like do it all, get them to school, get them ready, and then train myself, get my food ready. But for me, like, I love bodybuilding. Like, it's just my passion. Like, and that's why like I don't stop, I just keep going.
So let's go back to, you said 17, right? So what got you in that mindset from the beginning?
What started you?
What started you?
And I think just you've been posting some photos lately of when you were 17 versus you're now, and like there's a big difference. And obviously that's when we knew each other. When we first met. I don't remember you looking like those photos. That's the crazy. Like,
what do you remember me looking like?
Well, no, I just mean like you, the way you portray the photos when you do your before and after, it makes it seem like you were like so out of shape or overweight, or just excess weight that you didn't want at that time. But like, I don't remember ever like weight being that much of an issue at that point. And so
you were always cute.
Oh, thank you.
So like I know right around that time you started going to the gym more. But it's just, I guess to Jerry's point, like what was that kind of moment of when you decided you wanted to do more than just work out?
So in high school, I played soccer and softball, that. And, I had a coach that was a bodybuilder, and he would have me do we do a lot of squats and cleans and bench press. And I, would compete in powerlifting at Kearns High School. But since I was a young girl, I always loved being strong. I don't know if Ron remembers that, but I just remember like always like arm wrestling like boys and leg pressing down in my mom's basement. She had like a weight machine, and I had like a little boyfriend, and he couldn't press the whole thing. It was when I was in 6th grade. I remember I could press the whole stack, and I was like so happy about it because
like I beat you.
I beat you. So yeah, I was just always very competitive in that way, and just like wanting to be strong. Like I never wanted to be like the skinny girl. I always wanted to like
be the strong.
Yeah, you used to be really proud of your thighs. Like you were like,
I don't know if I wasn't proud of. People called me thunder thighs.
Yeah, but you were proud of like how strong they were. You used to flex them all the time.
Just
like,
pushing the whole
pretend.
Always
set,
the arms, So that's when I got into like lifting, and then when I started the gym, I was overweight. I don't know, he doesn't remember, but I weighed like 185, and that was my heaviest. But like since I always worked out, I wasn't like flabby anywhere. I was just like a thick 185. And so I just saw people at the gym that I looked up to, and they inspired me because I was like, they look great. And they would just tell me like, it's all about diet. So then I like started cutting out things each week. Like I ate McDonald's like every day, right?
High school.
Probably.
Well, you know what's funny about, I was thinking about what you did eat. And
pepperoni all day long.
We used to go, and Jerry and Mindy go here frequently now. So every time or not frequently, but when they go, it makes me think about this is Francesco's.
Oh yeah.
We used to go to
Love that
Francesco's like
place.
4 times a week.
I
Get
love
those
that.
cheese
And we would
bread
get their
sticks.
$7 meal, which came with your own pizza and cheese bread. And it was like the best deal that you could have at 18 because, we're making Pizza Hut money, right? So like we're trying to have to stretch our money, and we were eating there like 4 times a week. And yeah, so like, you definitely did not care what you were eating. And I didn't either, obviously, but it's crazy that.
Well, I mean, and then you're like, oh, my metabolism young. You don't care at that time, But I think you had a mindset that's a little different. You started to, you saw people. You go to the gym and you saw their commitment maybe, and you're like, I want to do that. So yeah, what kind of eventually kind of pushed you? Was it just a gradual thing? You did more and more. You did. You saw results, or what led to?
So I just like started to change my diet. I just saw like muscles would pop, or like I'd see like, oh, there's a new
I can see
vein or this or
definition
that.
there. Yeah.
And then a lot of people at the gym would comment and be like, you have a lot of muscle, like you should compete. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? Like compete in what? Because I had no idea.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Yeah, you're
back
like,
then,
"I'm just
bodybuilding
here."
wasn't a big thing. I think it's like Instagram has blown it up to be
Yeah.
like so big and so popular. But back then I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's when I was 23 is when I decided to do my first show. And so I probably lost like 30, 40 pounds for that.
Wow.
And I remember the day before the show, I called my mom and I was like, Mom, like, I cannot do this. I cannot get on stage. I started crying and she's like, no, like, you've put so much work into this. Like, you've dieted for like 20 weeks. And, but when I first started, I didn't even like vegetables. Like, I ate the worst. Like, I drank soda, McDonald's, like I said. And so after changing all of that, like, that was hard, the first show, like, changing all of my food.
It's a huge. I mean, food is such a part of people's lives. I mean, eat. We've been eating. I always tell people I'm a professional eater. I've been eating since I was born.
I
You know.
love food. I love it still.
He's got a food Instagram account. That's how much. He
Oh, I
loves
do
food.
too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure both of yours don't look
A
anything
little
alike.
different. I don't have my veggies in mine. I'll just tell you right now. There's no veggies.
There's no veggies.
A lot
Not much
of meat
color in Jerry's. It's
and
just-
fat.
He
and
doesn't
butter.
really gain weight.
I
so.
know, he's lucky. Look at him.
I'm
He doesn't
gaining.
know.
Yeah.
It's the TikTok.
Well, I do intermittent fasting unintentionally, so I eat once a
Yeah,
day. It's good.
unintentionally.
Oh.
So, okay, tell me about that. So, you talk about dieting, right? So, when you're, and I guess I was going to ask you too, because I have some other patients like this, and I haven't asked them the details, but I want to know a little bit more. So, when you're getting ready for a competition, right? You know the date, and you're like, okay, I want to go to this competition. Like, do you have goals? Do you change your diet? Is it kind of cyclical, or are you kind of always doing the same thing, or what do you do?
So like in the off season, I
Yeah.
try to do like a little bit over maintenance. So you don't need to have like a ton of calories over maintenance. Like 300 to 500 is like good, especially if you're at your max muscle. Like right now, I've been lifting like say 18 years and I'm not going to get much bigger. Like you can only, as a natural athlete, you can only get so big. And so I'll make small gains each year, maybe like 0.5 pounds of muscle or a pound. Like it's really difficult once you get like to that potential.
So I'm pretty matched out. I'm maxed out my muscle because I'm pretty huge.
Totally.
So okay, just making sure.
So like in the off season, I'll have like say 500 over maintenance, and then
Yeah.
when I start my cut, I'll go to maintenance, and
Okay.
then depending on each week what I lose. So like if you weigh 160, say I started at 160, you want to lose like 1% of your body weight. So like
Okay.
1.6 pounds a week is like
Oh, per week. So
good
it's
amount.
healthy for you. It's
Yeah.
safe for you. Healthy. Okay.
yeah.
So you plan that
So
all
you
in,
just
and it's
kind of
all
prepare that math wise into the schedule.
Yeah.
like caloric based, or how do you guys do it? It's not like macro counting.
I do
stuff.
macro
macros?
counting. So
Okay.
I've done all different diets. Like I started out 100% clean because that's what I thought. I like was my own coach and I researched it on the internet and I did like the strangest things because that's what you read about, like only
Yeah.
like chicken and broccoli and tilapia. But after I've learned like you can get lean from eating like flexible dieting. I eat ice cream every night. Like doesn't matter. Like I save carbs and fats for that
Right,
purpose
you work
because
it into your macros.
exactly
And just,
because like you
I
cannot
like that.
you cannot
I've
be
been
happy.
I've been on your diet every night.
like-
Then. I'm good.
But half a tub every night is not gonna work.
No, and I don't eat like the healthy Halo stuff. Like I eat
Yeah.
real stuff, but
Yeah,
it's
but
it's
you
like
count it
2
all and
servings
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Like real servings.
So
Real
you mentioned it just a second ago, and I know you always emphasize it in your posts. The word or the phrase "natural athlete" or "natural bodybuilder." Can you differentiate? Like, what does that specifically mean? I mean, my first thought is the opposite of that would be steroids or something else. But beyond steroids, is there something that classifies you as not a natural athlete?
So with a natural athlete, like with the federation I'm with, they do WADA testing. So there's like a huge list of all the drugs that you cannot take. There's also a lot of drugs that are in just even like pre-workouts that they're against. So you can't take ephedra, like that's like a fat burning agent, like a.
So even though like things that are legal,
Yeah, they're
like,
not
they're
legal in this.
not allowed to be considered for
competition.
natural.
Yeah.
Okay.
So any performance enhancing drug that's against WADA standards is you're not a natural athlete. So like there are things like growth hormone, there's insulin, there's all different kinds of steroids. There's like, probably millions of different steroids like Anavar, D-ball, Winstrol. Like can't take any of those obviously. But so just yeah.
So is there like a super amount of pride between being a natural and not being, and I guess like some people may not call themselves unnatural, but like if you're not competing in those specific competitions that are deemed natural, is there more prestige?
So
what's that
it's
like in the
bigger,
bodybuilding
like
world?
it's more popular on the drug side. It's kind of frustrating that like that is like more mainstream than natural bodybuilding. It doesn't get the recognition that I feel it should, because we work 3 times as hard. Like
Because there's no.
Is that an aesthetics
unnatural
thing? Just because like the
substances.
other guys are bigger,
they like
they
big
look bigger,
freaks.
and so it looks aesthetically pleasing.
Well, and it's not aesthetically pleasing to me.
I
Like
agree.
I do not like that look. Like people
I
will
didn't
see
realize
pictures.
that that's the difference, but I can picture that difference in my head, and I agree with you.
Yeah, like Arnold, like I love Arnold's look. Even though he was on steroids, it wasn't like the mass amount that the people take now. And that's what I feel like. They don't have that like, I don't know, aesthetic looking like V. They do have V taper, but I feel like it just flows better like in the older bodybuilding days. So yeah.
This is fascinating.
it is.
So, okay, you talked about seasons. Tell me a little bit about how seasons work, because you guys, it's like on-off season, right? Like sports and everything. I mean, it's obviously competitive, but how do the seasons work for you? Or can you always just be doing this?
And I
Like,
think
how does
you
that
have
work?
a competition coming up in a couple months, right? Oh, you're not on that one that you're on the poster of, but you're not actually competing in it?
No, it's just promoting it.
Okay.
Just the poster girl.
So like in the off season, I still eat pretty much the same food as I do in the on season. And then I usually start like 16 weeks out from my show, and I usually compete in the fall. So I'll take like an 8-month break just to like build and get my hormones back in check. Cause when you're like that low of body fat, like you lose your cycle. You do have other crappy side effects like lost libido, like sometimes like my hair, cause I have hypothyroidism. So my hair will like fall out more than normal.
Yeah.
So it's just like all those things you have to get your hormones back to normal, and then also have time to grow a little bit and because you'll lose muscle like if you're in that low calorie deficit. So that's another thing, is to get your calories back up, your metabolism better, all those things. So yeah.
Obviously takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. It's very scientific and mathematical. You talk about calories and your time. You really have to do it, and then but you still have to put all the work in too. So not only are you constantly having to account for all that stuff, you have to put the work in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. It sounds, pretty similar to any other professional athlete. You hear like NBA stars like LeBron always talking about, even in the off season, he's training, he's focusing on his diet, he's doing whatever he has to be ready to be in shape come season. And it sounds like, she's pretty much following the same.
Lose it all and
Right.
start from the bottom.
Well, and actually that made me think about, you have had 2 children, which means at some point you had to take that break, and you kind of had to climb back out from, a childbearing figure to competition figure. Was that process more difficult than, like, say, initially trying to be a bodybuilder? Like, what's kind of that mindset of, oh, I just had a baby. Do I really want to go through all this again to compete?
So at first, when I had my second, I just decided I wanted to get back into shape. So I just started eating better. I always worked out like when I was pregnant. So I only gained like 15 pounds, luckily. I don't know how.
Oh my gosh.
Like my sister, she was a tiny girl and she gained 80. And so me being like a naturally bigger girl, I'm like, I'm going to be like 300 pounds by this. But I don't know how I got lucky.
How big was the baby?
First one was 8, like 7'11", and the next one was 8'11". So I had big
And you
babies.
only gained 15 pounds? That's insane.
Yeah, I don't know. So I just decided I wanted to get back into shape. I didn't think I would compete again because I stopped in 2010, like right before I got married. I competed in the USA's in 2009, which wasn't a drug-tested league. I took 5th, and then the next year I didn't place because they were looking for bigger girls. And that's when I decided, like, I can't compete naturally against these girls. They just keep getting bigger and bigger. So I was like, I'm done with bodybuilding. So I took like a 7-year break, and then that's when I had my second baby. And I decided I was just going to like get in shape, and then it was time for a show to come up, and I wasn't really ready because I was still breastfeeding, and that made me hold on to fat. Some people like will lose the weight, like me on the other hand.
Breastfeeding, and
Yeah.
some people hold on to it.
I hold on to it, and so I wasn't ready, but I was like, I think I lost like 20 pounds, and I was like, I worked so hard, I'm getting on stage. I didn't do like too bad, but I didn't do as well as I liked, and I did compete in NPC, and I still couldn't compete. So that's when I decided I was going to switch to the natural federations, and then that's what I've done since then. So
How was it on your like mental psyche being pregnant and your body changing? And I mean, it sounds like you maybe didn't change too much besides just getting a little basketball.
It's so interesting though, because your body still changes. Like I
It
felt like I
does,
got
it
like
does. Your hips
more
changing.
cellulite or
Yeah.
something, and just softer. Even though I was still working out, I feel like since my estrogen was like higher or something, like my body did change a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like it didn't really like affect me that much because I did kind of take a break from bodybuilding. So I did gain a little bit since I got married, and then when I got married, I decided I was going to get back into, or when I was going to get married, get back into shape. So I started running some marathons to like get me motivated.
Yeah.
So I ran like 5 marathons, but
She makes
my
it sound easy. I just ran,
gosh.
5 marathons. I'm like, I can't even run a mile, dude.
well, it was like 2 halves.
Jeez.
No,
I'm just
3
getting back
halves,
into it. So I just
a
ran
full,
5
and a
marathons.
25K. But then I was just
Wow,
like,
that's amazing.
I'm
don't-
like couch to 5K mode. And you're like,
Watching her workouts on Instagram just makes you feel the worst about yourself.
Oh,
You're like, I have no energy for that.
but it makes you have more energy.
I know. I'm just.
that's
I'm
what's
being,
so like.
It's like
Yeah, it
getting
gives
there,
you
you
one.
know?
You have to get there. Do it. Get more energy, and then you just go.
Yeah.
So how long?
Making
How long
yourself
do you
go.
actually work out for? Like when you go to the gym, like from beginning to end, what's that time frame? Is it like an hour, 2 hours? Like how intense is that? Well, not even intense because that speaks to a different amount, a different thing. But like how long do you actually work out
I
for?
lift weights usually like an hour and 20 minutes. And if I'm like getting ready for a show, it just depends on how close I am to it.
Right.
But like in the off season, I probably do like just 20 minutes of cardio a day, like some high intensity interval training. But when I get like ready for shows, I get up to like an hour of cardio. So I'll have to do weights in the morning and then a little bit of cardio, and then usually I'll break it up and then do more cardio when I get home. If I do it at home or go back to the gym. So
What's your home regimen for cardio? Like, what kind of stuff are you doing? Are you doing?
I just have an
bikes?
Airdyne.
Oh, okay.
So I love the Airdyne. But
What
we
is
don't.
that?
Huh?
What is that?
So it's like a CrossFit. They use a lot in CrossFit. So it's a bike, but it has arms.
So you're doing arms and
Yeah.
legs with it
Yeah.
and
Okay.
cardio. It's like everything. That's cool.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a good, yeah.
So, Jerry, you said you'd seen, you had a lot of bodybuilding patients.
Yeah.
What are some of the, like, obviously, I think breast augmentations are probably prevalent amongst females in the bodybuilding world. Is that accurate? Or
Yeah.
yeah.
'Cause you
is it
lose
almost a
all-
necessity?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's interesting though, because a lot of girls, there's a few girls that don't have it. And it's really good because then you can see the lats from the front. With me, since I've had my implants since I was 19, since I've been doing a lot of push-ups, my muscles have pushed my implants out. And so then I can't
Yours are
see.
under your muscle.
Yeah, so I cannot see my lats from the front, and that is a disadvantage for me because that's what they're looking for is V-taper. But yeah, like you'll lose all of your fat. That's what happened when I lost like 50 pounds. I had like 0. And so that's when I was like, I need to get this
But
skin
I mean,
filled up.
technically, they're not judging your breast size.
Well, they are.
It's part of
I mean,
it.
no, not your breast
'Cause they
size,
look-
but it's part of your figure.
Okay,
You
so
know,
it's a figure. Obviously, like you said, the V.
It can
all the
enhance
stuff.
or
It
But I'm
can
just wondering
enhance or
because I mean,
take- yeah.
technically, that's not muscle there. But that's what I'm wondering. Do they take that into account? But it's all
I guess it
figure
depends
and
on
shape.
the judge.
Okay.
If the judge.
So, in regards to the muscle, do you have to do anything different as a surgeon when you're taking muscle? And like, if you have a bodybuilder who obviously is going to be working out the pectoral muscle, and then you're going to be putting in implants, does that change how you decide where to put the implant or like your approach to
yeah.
it?
Yeah, so I talked to patients about this, and I had a couple of people yesterday that I saw for consult, and I said, unless you're bodybuilding, because every time I talk to a patient that comes in about breast augmentation, regardless if you're a bodybuilder or not, I have to tell them the risks and benefits. Because and I tell them no breast augmentation surgery is perfect for anyone. you know? I wish there was, but there's not. There's always a benefit and a risk to everything. So for most people, the highest risk to me is a scar formation around your implant. We call that a capsular contracture. So when your body makes a thick capsule around the implant, it can distort the implant. It looks weird.
Why does it do that?
So the theory is your body sees a little bacteria or something. We call it biofilm. You know, when the implant's going in, even though everything's sterile, if like, I don't know, a piece of dust or a piece of bacteria gets on the implant, it goes in with there as you put the implant into the tissue. And then it sees that and it gets a little bit of inflammation. So the body responds to inflammation and it forms this scar. It tries to wall off bacteria or inflammation. So we call that a biofilm. But then the capsule can be painful. It can be visible. So that'd be horrible for company. I got, you know, women
My
coming
friend
in.
has that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where it's all distorted, even if they're not doing anything. And so I tell them, to me, that is probably one of the worst complications for an implant, right? Obviously bleeding and things, but those can be controlled. But a capsular contracture, so how do we decrease that risk? So one way is to put it under your muscle. The studies show if the implant is put through an incision under your breast, under the muscle, then that's it's like 40-50% lower risk.
Is that the only way you do it is under? You don't like doing
No.
it through the armpit?
I do not. I personally don't like. I did that a lot in training. I don't like it
Yeah.
because I've seen implants blow out and then their implant is in their armpit, or their implants are too high. So I mean, there's options. Right? You can go with the belly button. I don't do that. That's not safe. That's saline only. Armpit. I mean, it's an option for some people. People like that scar. My opinion is it's, you know, I think this incision hides just as well as this one, or even the one on the areola, because some women, you know, bikini, they don't want that incision there showing. So it depends on the patient. But here, there's like, you know, there's sweat glands and there's things that aren't totally sterile. There's bacteria there. So, you know, the whole thing for me is just trying to minimize the risk of bacteria on your implant. And so you don't get the capsule, right? We want you to have a good look too. But there's risk with that. So you put it under the muscle. Yeah, you have a low risk of scar. But now you mentioned it. When you're working out your pecs, it can potentially displace that implant, especially the bigger it is, the more your pec pushes it out. And over time, it creates this side pocket. So you probably see a ton of that. I see a lot of it because I have a lot of, you know, competition people that come in and I have to repair that. So it is something that's repairable. And I do that on my Instagram. I have people who are bodybuilders and competition people like you that are on there. I just don't say that because of HIPAA. But yeah, so it can be repaired. But there's just no perfect option. And so the other option would be, I tell people, I can put on top of your muscle, right? So we can avoid that completely on top of the muscle. Now your risk of that capsule forming is really high. And especially with a smooth implant nowadays, because before we would use a textured implant, and that had a little lower risk on top of the muscle. But now with this risk of lymphoma and cancer with these textured implants,
the recalls of the textured
I don't do
implants.
textured. So it really limits people's, you know, ability. So I can say, look, we can do that. You have a higher risk, but you don't have to worry about the implant. So that's why I tell patients, like, what's the risk benefit?
But how would that play into the bodybuilding? Because then you really can't see the muscle at all because the implant is sitting on top of it.
I mean, people do it. It's on top of your pec muscle, but it doesn't get displaced. But the problem is so the other thing that comes to your body fat, right? What's your body fat percentage typically when you're in competition
On like the
mode?
DEXA, it's at a 9.
Yeah. So you're like super low. Mine's probably like 40. So just for comparison. So, you know, when you're like at 9 and you have
That's
implants.
all he is just fat.
Yeah. If you
No bones.
Full 40%. Yeah.
Fat and brain. That's all it is.
Well, there's a lot of fat in my brain. So, but the implant's on top of the muscle. I tell people it looks like a gumdrop stuck on your chest, you know, because you have there's just skin. There's skin in an implant.
Yeah.
So the look is sometimes when you see,
Like,
Is that the more like fake look that
I
people
want
talk
mine
about?
more
That's
fake
saline.
looking though. Mine just look natural, and I need more like here.
You want the upper?
well,
the upper pole fullness.
yeah. So there's a lot of what I really like though about nowadays implants, because you had yours for how long now?
Since I was 19.
And they're saline.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
saline.
So saline, for one, when you overfill saline, that's like an overfilled balloon gonna explode. Like it just stays round. So, you know, when you overfill implants, they can keep that look, that roundness. So a lot of times you see the saline that's like that. Silicone, it's way more natural feeling, but you know, it can kind of droop and give you more natural contour.
What about those gummies?
But,
Are those
yeah.
gummies?
So I was gonna say the newer implants that I really like, and if you look on my Instagram, I have a ton of these. So women now, especially in Utah, are wanting this fullness up top, right? And I've noticed this even just last year and a half. There's this trend towards that more. What I saw in California a few years ago. So, but there's more gummy implants that hold their shape really well. So I use a
More
lot of those now.
cohesive.
Yeah, they're called cohesive or gummy. I tell people it's like, and one of these guys told me this one time, so I love this analogy. He said it's like a gummy bear from the freezer, so it's gummy, but it's pretty firm, right? Versus gummy bear sitting in my pocket. Gummy bear was
little
kind of
squishier.
gooey. So there's kind of the different levels of gummy.
But if you
bearness.
cut the gummy bear in half, it's still
gummy.
It's not
And
going
it's
to
silicone?
ooze.
Yeah, they're silicone.
And what's nice is he has a video. I don't know if it's still up or not, but he cut the
it,
gummy in half, and so there's no rupture. Like you can squeeze it, and it just stays in place. So like you don't have to worry about there
Kind
being
of like a
a
bouncy
rupture.
ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you cut a bouncy ball, it's shiny inside. That's like an uber gummy bear. You know, it's firm. and it
Super
bounces.
cohesive.
But yeah, so these implants, like you said, they. I know we went to the plant in Dallas and saw. It's really cool how they make it.
Yeah.
It's amazing the technology they have. They make it's all robotic, and it's
To
very
try
highly
and
controlled.
Yeah.
and
Sterileness.
very
And like the
sterile.
integrity of them. So there's very very durable implants. You know.
My mom's had a lot of complications with implants, so she's done like 11 surgeries. It's ridiculous.
11 surgeries.
Oh.
But like one of the worst ones, because I think we just have what is it called? A wide chest cavity?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
this-
wide,
your
wide cleavage. Like
Yeah,
a-
your
She wanted
sternum
hers
is-
pressed together more, and
Oh,
when
no.
she ended up doing that, it made like a uniboob.
she got the symastia.
There's no body fat, so that's why it's. She's had a lot of ruptures. So.
Yeah, I remember a long time ago her having one, but I didn't realize that she had that many over the years.
So
That's
that
crazy.
to me is one of the worst problems is symastia or uniboob. So it's so common. You know, if you look on Instagram, these people, it's always about the cleavage lines, right? Like people want close cleavage, they want it high, they want it close. But I always tell women when I consult with them, I always measure their natural cleavage. Like you said, some people have very wide. Your cleavage is formed by your two pec muscles, your pec major, both sides. They come, you know, from your inside of your humerus and then insert onto your sternum part of it. But where they come together between that space, that's your cleavage. So you're right. Some
Mine come
people's wide.
together a lot
Yeah, some people's
closer,
come
too.
closer, and you know
Where
if you
my
have
sisters are further
and
apart.
if you have more like fatty tissue and breast tissue, yeah, that can kind of override that. But a lot of people that have it wide, they say, "Well, I want it closer." Well, okay, the only way to do that is detach your muscle, and that's when you can run into this problem.
And then there's nothing holding anything from sliding
two-way
around.
Street now, yep, and that's where you get symastia. So there are other ways, and I have something I do. Well, I'm going to come up with a cool name, but I call it composite breast augmentation, where actually I do a few things to build up a cleavage without having to worry about messing with that muscle. So I actually use fat grafting. But there's a problem in someone like you who has 9% fat to find fat. But even then, I can always find fat, and then what I do is I actually fat graft that to build up a cleavage so we can create. And so on my Instagram, I have some of those too. where I'll
Is
do
that-
I think she just ended up doing that just recently. She
Fat
had
grafting.
got lipo, and then they did
Yeah.
it.
Exactly.
They did it in here and did it in her face.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Is that so? When you get someone that gets that uniboob issue, that's repairable?
It is one of the hardest things to repair.
Yeah, my
That's
mom's
why
gone through 2 surgeries
Yep.
since, and it's still not 100%.
it's literally like you take
Darn it.
huge sutures, put it through the sternum bone to get it to stay down, because that tissue, once it's separated,
That's probably really
those fibers are detached forever, and you have to then create. Although there are new things now that I do that can help with that a lot. So there's this internal mesh that I use that can help create a natural plane in there. It's just like I said, those people that blow out those pockets. I mean,
Yeah,
literally
on the
there's this huge
side.
hole. So I've been doing these things where I put mesh to create a new pocket.
So with having a big, wide sternum or whatever, can you get implants that won't be like way over in your armpits? Like, I don't know. Like, I think that's
Yeah.
my issue is it's wide here, so then
It just naturally pushes off to the side.
I don't know.
Well, it pushes out because your pec. Yeah, every time you activate your pec, it's gonna push it out. So there's a way. Yeah. So I do this again. There's a thing I can use. I use mesh. So I use mesh to hold it over.
But implants now are not as wide set.
Yeah.
They're
That-
more narrow
probably
and
better,
more
yeah.
projected.
Saline, yes, you're right. So the old saline and in the silicone, they're very flat,
More pancake.
pancakey, huge volume,
You've
but
taken
they're
out
like
some of the old ones that just like
they're just flat.
They're
go
just
like this.
I'm
when
just
they're
so
like
interested to
pancakes.
see what mine would look like. I bet they'd
Probably
be all.
flat.
Don't they come
But-
out like all moldy? And
No,
He had one that was like 30 or 40 years.
calcifications on it, but they do look weird.
bet
He had
Like
one that was
disgusting.
like 30
they-
or 40 years that he
Yeah,
took
35
out,
years,
and
yeah.
it was like a complete. It almost was like a wrapping. Of
It had
the
a
implant.
capsular contracture.
Yeah.
It was pretty
So it
cool
was-
looking, but it was kind of just crazy to think like
imprinted
that built
the- the-
build inside my body.
Yeah. The model number was imprinted
Yeah, I've
in the
never-
capsule, like in the scarring.
Yeah, I've never found mold, but it does. Your body makes calcification and all that stuff, and we just take all that out. But yeah, to create. So yeah, the newer implants are much more narrow because they give you more projection.
Okay.
So some women I tell them like, look, the volume I'm gonna, because they want to downsize a lot of times. I say, well, we can downsize. They're gonna be way more narrow anyway. But then I have to recreate a pocket inside. So it's definitely a lot of work on my end, but it's worth it. For the patients, I think. So yeah, there's definitely ways to address all that stuff. So trying to keep it over. Nothing's perfect, but there's definitely ways to help out. And then, like I said, here I usually fat graft the cleavage lines, and that's been awesome. I'm
Yeah,
gonna post
people
some more
really
some
like
new
that.
stuff soon I've done recently that it's
Nice.
awesome.
When was your mom's most recent?
Actually, probably 4 months ago. I think. 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, some of those is just a stage thing, because you kind of have to plan and stuff happens. So that's the other thing talking about all this. I was going to ask you. So, okay, we talked about implants, right? And there, again, new technology, all the new cohesive implants, the mesh, the fat grafting. There's just a ton of options that weren't even really prevalent or available even when I was in training a few years ago. So it's kind of nice because for me, my practice, I do a lot of this. But in concert with that, you mentioned having kids and pregnancies. I see a lot of women as well that have a lot of loose skin down here, or they get separation of their muscles to get a diastasis.
My sister had that.
Yeah, and despite working out your rectus abdominis muscles, that space between them cannot come back together. There are people that say, oh, you can exercise, but it really doesn't change that because that's not muscle in the middle. That's a fascia that's split. So that needs to be surgically repaired. But do you see that as well? Do you see in the competitions women who have had scars that are hidden on their bikini lines or that have tummy tucks, or most people more want to stay natural and leave the skin? I'm just curious what you've seen.
It's like half and half. Like I'm sure they want to get it fixed, but they don't have the money to do it. But some women will compete even though it does go against their placing. Like
Does
for
it really?
sure. Yeah.
So all of that.
If they have
Yeah.
a scar, you're saying?
I-
Because
Or
it makes
loose
it,
skin.
The
the loose
skin.
oh,
skin.
if they have a skin.
I mean, probably the scars too.
Because I would think almost.
But if you
it
have
al-
the hidden
it-
scars,
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
yeah.
tan
well, those
kind of
those
hides a lot.
bikinis they wear are pretty low. So
Yeah.
Pretty
I don't know.
stringy.
I don't know if you're gonna
You
be.
know,
I've had
It's not gonna
some
cover it.
patients come in because I always tell patients for tummy tucks. I say, okay, when you come in day of surgery, wear your smallest thing so that I
So
can
we
mark
know
the
where to hide
scar.
it.
I had one girl came in literally with a string bikini, so I just drew a line.
Right
You
where it
can
was.
really do it that low?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they always do them like higher. Like
Yeah,
Some people-
I put mine very low, but there's different styles because some people like them higher because they wear the higher bikini. I don't know if you see like they have the ones that come
Like
up
in the
arch
80s,
over their-
the-
yeah.
I just would be curious what the judges would think is something worth deducting more points over is
A
that
scar
extra
or the
skin
skin.
or the scar, which insinuates that you got surgery to look as good as you do, right? Like
I would say skin.
you think so?
But they all know. They all know. These people, probably the judges,
you
right?
can
They've probably
hide the
done
scar a
this.
lot
They know
better
that
than you can hide the
you
skin.
lose. They understand all this stuff. In
Yeah.
my opinion, I don't know. I'm not a judge, but they know you have breast implants. They know. I don't know.
Well, and you can compete in masters, so you see a lot of that in masters after you've had kids and stuff. So it's kind of more
Accepted there.
accepted, yeah,
Or expected.
yeah, I guess. And then
What other is there any other kind of plastic surgery that's common in the bodybuilding world beyond breast augmentation or
Calf
even-
implants.
Well, I was
I'm
gonna-
just
yeah, I
kidding.
was
I
actually-
You know,
totally
that's
that's,
actually
that's
going
when
to-
I
I'm
when I
kidding.
thought of the question.
Yeah.
When I thought of the question, that's the exact thing I thought of because when we were in like college, it was the college years or end of high school.
Leg
there
day.
was a
Leg
show
day.
on MTV where this dude
Yeah,
from New Jersey got calf. You
implants.
saw
Maybe
that one?
that's what I
I
was.
remember seeing
This
that
guy
too,
got
actually.
calf, and I'm like
Yeah.
That's the
watching him
thing.
like this dude is so obsessed with his calves. He's going to put these hard plastic things in his legs, and
to
then he's
make
gonna
it
go
look
brag
more
about 'em.
augmented.
I was like, so I don't know. Is there things like that you see, like maybe even on the guy's side in the bodybuilding world?
I honestly don't know. Like,
Nobody. It's not
I
something
mean,
anybody
girls
talks about.
sometimes get the butt implants, but I don't.
Oh.
I don't know if they do have them or not.
Mm.
I think it's hard to tell.
Yeah, butt implants.
Those are dangerous, right?
Well,
The mo-
I don't know if they're dangerous,
They're the
but
most-
they can be obvious if they're badly.
it's the
poorly
Brazilian
done.
butt lift that's
Oh.
the most
Oh, sorry,
dangerous,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's
but these-
fat
but
grafting
she
to
had-
the
she
butt.
not have enough fat to do a BBL. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's implants because they just don't have the fat to transfer.
Yeah.
But those, I had a patient come in one time, that came in for a consult to remove her implants that someone else had done in her buttock, and I could literally grab. You could see the end of the implant just sticking out. I could grab
It
it.
was like hanging down
unreal.
below her normal
and this
crease.
is because they just put it right under her butt, like her fatty tissue.
Yeah, it wasn't
should
placed
be,
very
It should
well.
be kind of intramuscular there.
That would be hard to sit on. I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like
just
you're sitting
weird.
on like you've got
I
a big
can
something in your
imagine
wallet.
sitting on
and
my
you're like-
boobs all the time. That would be uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
your butt.
Well, I wonder how that also affects the muscle because the gluteus muscles you're showing off as well, right? In competition, so like
Yeah, like if you're using them all the time, it'd be similar to like using your chest. Like,
Right.
what would
Yeah.
that do to your
Oh, totally. Displace
implant?
them, yeah.
Be weird.
People need them out.
Yeah.
But it's again, it all comes down to like shape, figure, right? Some people, and I think everyone's different. This is what I've noticed. Everybody has something about their own body that they just not uncomfortable with, but that's always maybe bothered them, right? And that's some people. Like some people's like their butt always bother them, and some people it's their breast, some people it's their nose. It's and so. I can see why maybe people do it, but you're right. I mean, you have the risks. Like, what
They
if
usually
it,
end up
Yeah.
looking worse though after they
know.
keep doing it and doing
Yeah.
it. And I'm like, why do they
Yeah.
do that?
Well, and some people with breasts, I tell them almost become like a breast cripple. Like you literally have so many surgeries. Like the more you have, it's almost like you just can't come back from how bad it is, you know? So you have to find an equilibrium or level where it's like, okay, I know it's not gonna be perfect, but I can accept this.
Well, like you said earlier, the risks and the benefits. Like every surgery, there's a risk, and is it gonna, provide more risk or more benefit?
Is there any age limitation that you have to take into consideration? I mean, other than general health, but like, someone who may have had implants for 30, 40 years, do they have to just decide at some point to have them removed, or can they continue to have, additional augmentations?
So I always talk, and the FDA talks about this too. So I tell all my patients that these are not permanent devices. Even I've taken out 35-year-old implants, someone's 70-something years old. Yeah, you could go to your grave with those, I guess. But I always tell them, look, if you get them in, even though you have a lifetime warranty now on these implants, or sorry, lifetime of the patient warranty guarantee, it doesn't mean it can be in your body forever. It's like if you bought a car, lifetime warranty in your car, they can say that, but it doesn't mean you're going to drive that car for your whole life, right? It's probably going to break down. So implants, I always say you're going to have 2 surgeries in your life if you have implants. At minimum, maybe 11. One is to put them in, and one is to either take them out, get a new one,
change size,
bigger or smaller, or just gone out completely. So when it comes to health, most people are not getting healthier every day. We're getting older and less healthy. Most people, right? Some people are unhealthy and they change their habits to become, fit and they're built. But for the most part, age, time, gravity are not our friends.
Christy Brinkley's the only one that doesn't age.
Yeah, exactly.
I think so.
The only person, and her implants probably don't age either. But I don't know if she has implants. I'm not assuming. So yeah, there's no age limits, but it more becomes again, risk benefit. Because again, risks change in someone. I always assess age. What their medical problems are. If they have blood pressure issues, I've had 10 strokes, I've had heart attacks,
diabetes,
all these things take into account, and then that kind of helps me determine how safe you are for surgery. I do have patients come in that are 70-something years old. They want brand new implants. They want all this. And I said, I actually don't think you're healthy for this. We can take them out. I can actually do this awake, take them out under local, but because that's you don't have to go to sleep.
Wait, and then you just sew them back up, and then they're just sagging.
Right?
Yeah.
They could,
but that's for someone who's not healthy.
You could
I'm
have,
just saying that's
kind of a worst case.
Yeah, that's worst case scenario.
If you took them out at that point to prevent them from being saggy, you could do additional modifications, right? To like
you can do lifts. Oh yeah,
out.
you can do lifts and a lot of things you can do. Again, this is all just every person is individual in terms of their health, what they want, where they're at. So that's why it's so personalized. You just can't. And that's to me like breast augmentation surgery. It's one of the top procedures in the United States done. Liposuction, breast augmentation, rhinoplasty. These are like really top surgeries for cosmetic stuff. So a lot of it's done by non-plastic surgeons. It's really not a straightforward thing.
That's what I was thinking about earlier when she was talking about the natural bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And then those that are using, modifications. I was kind of thinking, like comparing it in my head to plastic surgeons versus cosmetic surgeons. Like they're not the same thing. They're doing the same thing.
Oh, they're not the same thing?
So
No.
yeah, you should try to find out the list of your mother's doctors and see what he can tell you about them, because
they're board certified.
and this isn't
surgeon
to be negative. It's just to have the information, because he's like really enlightened a lot of people that follow him, that there's people that are facial surgeons who will go do breast augmentations, but they're not necessarily certified.
They'll take
to do
like
it.
a weekend
dentist or
course.
oral surgeon, or family doctor.
It's crazy. Some
obstetrician.
of the people who call themselves cosmetic who aren't licensed or
Yeah, a
certified.
cosmetic surgeon and plastic surgeon would never call themselves a cosmetic surgeon.
Or a body surgeon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just different background training. I mean, like for me, like if we were having a baby, I'd want an OBGYN delivering her baby and take care of her, not a plastic surgeon, right? But it'd be
that's
like
just
me
not
saying
the
I'm your
specialty.
obstetrician, or technically in the United States, this is where I think it started. If you look on a medical license, it says physician and surgeon. That's what everyone's medical license says.
When you graduate medical school and complete your
it says
1
Gary
year of
Chidester,
residency.
MD or DO, physician and surgeon. It just says that. Even if
Everybody's.
yeah. And so I'm a plastic surgeon. I train for that. But yeah, everyone. So a family doctor's like,
It says
I
surgeon.
can do surgery. And legally in the United States, if you have your own office like this right now, like my office, I mean, I have a room back there. I could go do brain surgery right now. If you want, I can do brain surgery on you. You may not.
no thanks.
Well, yeah, you're not gonna trust me to do it, right? But I could. I could advertise. Now there are other laws too. I can't claim board certification and things in that because I'm not. But
in
if
brain
someone
surgery.
trusts you enough,
Yeah.
you could do
to
anything
be
in your
clear.
office.
Yes.
Now at the hospital or other centers, they're very strict because they have to abide by Medicare and Medicaid. And so they only let people do what they're qualified
Classified and
certified
qualified to do.
So I can't go do brain surgery at Intermountain.
And a
can't do all
cosmetic
plastic
surgeon
surgery.
can't go do plastic surgery at
Yeah,
Intermountain.
because they're not a plastic surgeon. They're whatever they are.
And Jerry just got board certified in
American Board of Plastic Surgery.
December, after 16
Long
years
time.
of training. So
Yeah. Also, and this is a very long process. So again, going back to breast augmentation, it's part of, our core in terms of reconstruction for breast cancer, but also for, aesthetic cosmetic purposes to do these surgeries. It's not always that easy. And there's so many subtleties and things and taking things into account like that. Like, oh, you bodybuild. I always ask people, do you
Yeah,
bodybuild?
like mine would be very different. My consultation would be very different from
Her
yours.
needs and yours are
He's
totally
like,
different.
do
Have
you
worked
bodybuild?
on her?
Yeah.
No. Yes, not. I don't have
not
implants.
but other.
But yeah,
That'd be kind of hard.
I kind of made
Well,
it.
so it's a funny story because he didn't want to do that, and then she's like, "Why would I let anybody other
Else,
than you?
exactly.
Like, I trust you more than
Yeah,
anybody. Why would I go
I'm
somewhere
your
else?"
biggest fan.
Yeah.
Like I've waited 16 years for something.
Yeah.
Birthday present?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is weird though, like especially like, if, for friends or people that have grown up with Jerry, like to all of a sudden want to go see him for a procedure like that. Like we have a friend who did that, and I'm sure he's got some other people that he's known for a long time, but you just kind of have to get past that initial weirdness about it and just
They
realize
always
it is
ask,
just a
I
medical
really
thing.
want to
It's a
come to
professional
him. Would that be weird? They ask me too, like,
You're like,
would that be weird for you if like I see your husband?
no,
And I'm
that's
like,
not how it is.
yeah, like it's all very medical for him. It's
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. It's not weird for him at all. It's not weird for me. So I had to learn for it to not be weird.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, we keep it very medical, professional.
Right.
And I always have we talked about this before, I have a medical assistant with me always, is protect the patient and myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've had very close family, very close friends, and it comes down to trusting, like who do you trust to do your stuff? And, if you know that person, I think that's important. And I tell patients that too. Some people see a lot of surgeons, in consult, and I tell everyone, I said, look, I think it's fine to see multiple people. I don't
You wanna
care.
vibe
Like,
and be
you're a
able to
consumer. It's like you're buying a
communicate.
car. You're not just going to go to the Audi dealership and buy an Audi if you're like, I kind of want a German car. I want a fast car, but you can go to like BMW, Mercedes. There's like a million other. Where's Audi from though?
I'm pretty sure Audi is German.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, like, so if I'm breast augmentation, you can see multiple people, and then you're going to make the choice what matches your personality
Yeah,
the
which
best.
vibe's the best.
Yeah, and who you feel. I mean, yeah, you're not going to know right off of one consult, but you can get a very good vibe off of a consult if that surgeon's going to be good for you, And then you look at their work, and then you look see if they're board certified, and all these things. And so that's what I try to educate the people that follow me on, is just the questions to ask. You don't have to come to me always. You should, but you don't have to. But if you go somewhere else, yeah, make
That
sure
might be
you
the first
ask.
time I ever heard him say
I
that.
know.
I think it is.
It
I'm
was a
like,
joke.
He's
It's a
never.
joke.
Like, that's not his MO.
Yeah, no, it's a total joke. Yeah, you can go, it's a free country.
Well, I think it'd be.
That's what he says all the
I
time.
don't know if you know this, but was your mom's reasoning to go to 10 different doctors because she was unsatisfied with the previous work, or
Yeah, because I feel like when she gets messed, like the surgery goes bad, she thinks that they should help her like kind of for free, but these doctors are just like, it's your risk you take, and she kind of felt like they took advantage of her, but that's kind of like, it kind of sucks when you have these complications and then you just put out 10 grand and they didn't fix you. And then she's like, well, I'm not going to give you another 10 grand to mess me up even more.
Right.
So I'm going to
Yeah,
find
she
someone
loses
else.
that trust. And
Like, it's hard. Like, I know like nothing's like 100% when you go into surgery, but there is one doctor she's gone to like a few times, and he's great because he actually will help fix her. He knows that like the last one she's been to, he knows that like the surgery won't fix it like completely. She has to do like surgery after
Stages
surgery. Yeah. He one time said, I think she needs to take him out, and she's like, I just can't do that. Like, I don't want to be nothing for, I think he said
like
like
6
wait,
months.
yeah.
and
And
at least, yeah.
yeah, I don't know, why would they do that, to take him out, just to like let things
Yeah, we do
chill,
that sometimes.
or-
Well, sometimes you have really large implants in a big pocket where your implant is. It's huge, and if you need to change the location of the implant, you want everything to heal and start from scratch. Because going in there,
That's
I
like-
tell
yeah.
people it's
Yeah,
like
and
if you
hers
go into
are
a
pretty
room that had
large,
a
right?
bomb go off in
Not
it.
anymore.
No,
Yeah.
she's reduced them over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like threw a grenade in your bedroom and it blew up, and then you go in there and you try to sleep in there, it's not gonna work out. So I tell people this is like a bomb exploded in there. It's a disaster. We need to clean it out and wait for the dust to
love it.
settle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what a lot of times you just want to let it heal, and it takes That scar tissue can
Takes
take 6
time.
months, and if you've had it
Let
10
the
times,
body
11
fairies
times,
do
it's
their
gonna take
work.
longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So it's just a matter of whether you want to do it right or you want to keep doing it
Yeah,
multiple
she
times.
should have done it right, but she didn't.
well, yeah, definition of insanity, right? Is that from Einstein? I always say is to keep doing the same thing over. But it sounds like they tried. You go different things. People have new ideas or try different things. I mean, for me, if it's something like I always tell people, if there's a revision or something, I don't charge for revisions for any surgery. You do have to
Surgeon
pay-
fee sometimes.
yeah.
Surgeon, yeah,
Right.
you have to
And
pay an
anesthesia.
anesthesiologist and
Yeah.
facility.
There's other fees that
Yeah.
were
like-
And my
just
mom understands that part
Yeah.
of it,
Yeah,
but she's
yeah.
just like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're right. Like, and I try to. For me, it's all about because things happen, right? Stem massive.
Yeah.
That was not planned. That's go into surgery. If you get a big implant or something happens, it can tear things.
Is
Whatever.
that something that you like if you're, having a patient who similar scenario, is that something you could potentially foresee that you kind of have to warn, say, we don't think it could happen, but I guess like is there a higher likelihood that you're going to notice while operating that you can give them that advanced warning that this may occur?
Yeah,
Or is it just completely
There's things that I
unforeseen?
stay away. That's the one thing I do not want to happen. So if I have someone who already has like say very narrow cleavage, like Mindy was saying, hers is close. But she's like, I want more. Well, you can't really have more than that. More than that is one.
I
is
don't
one
want
breast.
more.
But yeah, so if people are very close already, you don't want to mess with the muscle because it's already right there. So if you cut that muscle too
At
much,
all,
it's gonna
it's-
open it up. And so so I try to mitigate. I don't even let that happen. So I'll stay away from that. And I just tell
But
them,
if the patient says, I want more cleavage, he knows exactly where to
I
lead
have
that
a level
conversation.
of where. But you can, traumatically speaking, you could fall and tear something. It can push into your other, things can happen. We can't predict everything. So, and that's the reason why I think it's important to go to a board certified plastic surgeon because, we've shown that we have enough training and background and experience for the most part, and we're not all created equal, but that at least we're safe enough and ethical enough to do the right thing for our patients. If something were to happen, I would either be able to take care of it or I would find someone for you that I think can help you do it. Versus a cosmetic surgeon who's not board certified in plastic surgery, they watched someone do it on a weekend course, or they went and watched someone do it for like 6 months, and then they said, "Oh, I did 400 breast augs. I know more than any plastic surgeon." And then something weird like this happens, they're not going to be able to help you. They don't have the experience. And a lot of experience we draw from is from reconstruction. So building something from the ground up versus augmentation, it goes hand in hand. It's all the same principles. So when you're taking a woman's breast after breast cancer, there's nothing left, and to reconstruct something, or even on the face, it really, like, you see the anatomy, you understand what's happening, and it makes it way, not easier, but more capable of fixing something.
Do you think people end up choosing cosmetic surgeons just because of the lack of understanding of the difference, or is there cosmetic surgeons charging cheaper prices generally?
Both. So I think some people are sometimes drawn in, and that's fine. Everyone's different, right? Everyone's a different boat. So some people are looking for the least expensive option to achieve their goal, right?
That's me.
And then,
True. Me
and
too.
then-
I'm always
and-
looking
and
for
a lot
the
of
I need
people
the
are.
deal. I'm like, Ron,
Yeah.
I need some tickets. Airplane tickets. Find them for me.
So,
yeah, he's good at that.
So some people, cosmetic surgeons will use that to their advantage, or will try because they're doing it out of their office for one. They probably some of them do their own anesthesia, so they don't have to pay another
That's-
person to do it. They don't pay facility fee, so they're
That's really
they're
scary.
essentially just charging you for implants and their fee. So they're going to give you rock bottom prices. You're like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then you go meet them, and they tell them that you're a cosmetic surgeon, and then you just don't understand what that actually means. You're like, well, yeah, there's cosmetic surgery. I want cosmetic breast. Great. But what's their background, And then I had a patient here recently who came in, a cosmetic surgeon, and I get these quite a bit, did her breasts, and it was a nightmare. And she said, and it was sad because I feel like I did my due diligence.
I think she had 3 surgeries with him.
To research that patient, and or the patient, research the doctor, not the patient, research the doctor, and she thought she did everything she could, and turns out like they're not even a plastic surgeon, And I said, I'm not here to blame anyone. I just, even if you try to do your research, you just don't know sometimes.
It's confusing.
Well,
It's very
it's a red
confusing.
flag if you see teeth laying around the office or toothpaste. So.
They usually hide them though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you're gonna
about
say
my
something.
doctor,
Yeah.
can I mention him or no?
Let's not use any names.
Well, I can. Yeah.
I'll ask you.
Yeah, just
ask
Dr.
him
X.
after.
Dr. X.
I think he's retired, honestly.
Okay.
But,
Yeah. So Dr. X retired.
yeah. Oh no, well, I'll just ask you about later.
Yeah, we
if
can
you know if you know of him.
Yeah. No, I
long
never
time.
want
He
to say anything
never-
about any
yeah.
Oh yeah,
professional.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Even if they're not a plastic surgeon, I'd like to say things, but I won't.
Yeah, even like coaches I've had in the past, I never like
Yeah.
people blast on Facebook like, oh, that was
Yeah.
the worst coach ever. It's like, No, you just move past it.
Yeah.
You don't
It doesn't- it doesn't
make
help.
them look like an
It's
idiot.
a small world. I'm sure bodybuilding is
It's the
a
same
small
thing.
world.
Like, you don't wanna,
and
like,
plastic surgery
make
is
it-
a small
You
world.
didn't click, like, what is the word? You didn't click with them, I guess.
Yeah,
Like,
you just
Yep.
you didn't vibe together.
Totally.
And, well, I have a question back to bodybuilding. How old are your girls now?
3 and 6.
Okay, and how do they do they want to be strong like their mom? Like,
They
what do
love
you
it.
think?
Even like Rayla, she's my oldest. She's a big girl. Like, I was a big kid. Like, when I was in, say, 6th grade, my friends were always like to my shoulders, and I'm not a tall girl.
No.
We just grow fast, and even my husband
Okay.
is the same way. Like, he's not super tall. He's only like 5'10",
Okay.
5'11", but like we were just big kids, and she is like 80 pounds, and she only is 6, so she's wearing like a size 12, and her friends are just tiny compared to her, but she's like super strong. So we had a field trip to the fire station for her preschool, and they wanted to test all the kids to see if they could pick up a 70-pound weight. Of course, no kid could pick up a 70-pound weight.
They
'cause
probably
all are
weighed
tiny.
most of them.
Rayla
Yeah.
gets up there, picks it up, and
No
I'm like,
way.
holy cow. And they were shocked. They're like, she's freaking 5 and she's lifting 70 pounds. I'm like, well,
Yeah,
she
that would
weighs,
be heavy
she
for
weighs
me.
70 pounds.
Right.
But then the same thing with posing. Like, they love to pose.
Oh,
And get in my
cute.
heels. They'll take them and start
Just
walking around
walking
the house. Like, I
around.
have it on my Instagram. Like, my
Cute.
kids posing. And Rayla, in one of them, dying. She was wearing a swimsuit. She had hiked the bottom up her
No
butt.
way.
And I did not know it. So I was filming her. And then when
Then
she
she
turned
turns.
around, I was like, oh. And it like,
Wanna be
I
like
don't
mommy.
want them to like. It's funny because I'm like, this is a problem, I think. But then at the same time, I'm like, they're
They're
building
kids.
self confidence.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it really is a confidence thing. Like, that's
Well,
what I love about lifting weights. Like,
yeah.
I built self confidence from that, and that like, no matter what, I can do anything. Like,
Do you have a idea of like when or if you will encourage? Like, I think that young of age probably is too young, but like when you might start encouraging them to have exercise be part of their daily routine.
we do stuff like that. Like, Sean, like in the morning, he'll have Rayla do their airdyne for a minute, or just like we'll do push-ups together, we'll do jumping jacks together. Like, in the old gym, like my husband would go out in the morning to work out, and he'd bring the girls out, and they love to do like box jumps and stuff. So just like getting
It's like
them
an activity for them and
yeah,
not exercise.
yeah.
yeah, getting them into the habit of
Well,
it.
it's like jumping on a trampoline.
Yeah.
That used to be just fun for me, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to pee and I can't breathe anymore. And,
Well,
you
even
know,
for me, since I'm not in jumping on the tramp shape, like that's
yeah,
tiring
it's just
for
different.
me.
Yeah. I was like, I had no idea jumping on the tramp was exercise,
hard
and now I'm
work.
like, my heart is pounding.
Yeah, we go to
Yeah.
those trampoline places, and I follow them
Yes.
around. I'm, like,
I'm
this is-
sweating
yeah,
and
tiring.
yeah, used to do it all day long.
Yep.
So the key word. So we forgot to add this at the beginning. We'll add this in. The
Yeah.
key word is what?
Well, so I was thinking we can do it at the end here, and then
You'll edit
in
it in.
future ones we'll stage it more. So what we want to do is a special promotion. Obviously, Jerry's been doing a lot of promotions over the last month. So as a reward for those who listen or watch this podcast frequently, we're going to do a special phrase or words every podcast. And anybody who comments on the Instagram post of that episode, we'll do a drawing, and you'll get to go have lunch with Jerry.
We'll have a
So they
chit-chat.
comment the word.
Yeah, so today's word, we're going to go with GymLife. We want you to comment GymLife and your favorite color.
Not the guy named Jim.
No,
GYM.
GYM,
Jim.
LIFE.
Jim Life.
And it could be one word or 2 words, it doesn't matter, but GymLife and your favorite color. If you comment that on the Instagram post advertising this episode, and we'll put it in the Instagram post as well, then we'll do a drawing a week later. So this will air on Monday. We'll do the drawing the following Monday. And whoever wins gets to have chit chat with Chiddy at lunch.
Yeah, that may be a punishment for you. So if you don't want to have lunch with me,
You can get the gift
then
card.
you get a gift card. It'd be like $20 or something. Go grab yourself
So
Quiznos.
we're up to a...
Quiznos.
Oh,
I haven't heard of
okay,
Quiznos
fine.
in
when I
so
was pregnant, I
long.
wanted
They got-
Quiznos.
Oh, I
The only one they had
They don't
was
have 'em in
off
Utah anymore.
Bangor and like at the gas
134th.
station, and they didn't have it. It's not there
I
anymore.
know, I know.
But it was on maps?
They're not in Utah anywhere
No,
anymore.
I got it.
Oh,
when I
you
went,
did?
They have 'em in
Oh.
California
They got
still.
rid of
Yeah,
them.
they do, and they have them
Right.
in Nevada too. So I think the last time I drove to California, I saw one, and I'm like, oh, that's where I'm having lunch.
Did
because
we go to Quiznos a lot?
I think we do.
Oh my gosh,
I don't know
love
why I just brought that up.
Quiznos.
It just, I thought about it.
I,
Like a
I
nice
was like, I haven't
toasted
heard
warm.
that word in such a
Yeah.
long
I
time.
was really mad
Maybe
that
the
they don't
word
have
should
it
be
anymore.
Quiznos.
No, we're gonna stick with GymLife and your favorite color.
GymLife,
So if your
your
favorite
favorite
color is
Quiznos
blue,
sandwich.
you put GymLife
GymLife blue.
GymLife blue. But we want to make sure that those people that are listening and watching are rewarded, which is why we want the color to change. Because we don't want people to look on Instagram and just repeat what all of you guys are
Just
putting
be
on there.
putting GymLife.
So we're trying to, because we're up to, I think we're about to cross the 100 subscriber on YouTube today.
Oh,
And obviously we're at
Damn.
like 1,500 on Instagram.
Monetize
So
that.
those people who are actually listening and watching these podcasts, we want to make sure you're rewarded as opposed to some of the people who might not put in that effort. So GymLife and your favorite color, and you could go to lunch with Jerry, maybe at Simply Thai.
Yeah, I think we'll do that first, and then we'll
Simply
just
Thai, that's a
we'll
good
pick
place.
different
That's
places.
his mother's restaurant.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
I've been there. It's right, like,
It's like
Southtown.
right down the street.
yep, by South.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, by the La Puente. What's that called?
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
La
yeah.
Fuente.
La Frontera.
Frontera.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's something
changed.
different now.
It keeps changing.
Is it La Puente now?
The government keeps shutting them down.
Well, no, it's a hard
Government.
location. It's a hard location to be successful. That's why it's.
I always
it's
went
so,
there.
I know. That used to be JD's favorite place is La Frontera there.
La Frontera.
But that's why it's so surprising that your mom is so successful there, is because it's like that Mexican place has changed 10 times over the
people
last
say
10
that
years.
that's like the best Thai. Like even
That's
my
pretty good.
mom's boyfriend, he's like,
Oh, really?
that's why I went there. He's like, it's the
So
best
good.
Thai food.
That's pretty
Aw.
good. Very authentic. Thank you. Well, we really appreciate you having on today, Tiffany. It was a joy to have you. I learned a lot about
Yeah.
the bodybuilding world. Kind of got insight into why you are you and how you're so successful. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then just talking about how plastic surgery, a little bit how that relates. You guys, Ron is always very well prepared with good questions.
Yes.
Um,
I just show up. So do you.
no, you do great. I do. I literally just show
Well,
up.
people are here for you guys, not for me, so that's what's important. Real quick before we go, you were doing a documentary. Do you want to plug that in any way? Like
Yeah,
talk about
do
when
it.
that might come out or anything like that?
Well, so
Or do you know?
recently I was in Iron Man magazine, so I was on the cover of that. With the PNBA, they own that magazine, so they're highlighting natural athletes, and that's a big deal. They
Yeah,
wanna show people-
congratulations.
They just want to show
Awesome.
people that this is what like a natural body looks like, and that you can obtain it. You don't need to take drugs to look this certain way. So I was on the cover and then on the inside. And then just recently with Generation Iron, it's documentary on Netflix. So there's 3 of them already, and they've done other series with unnatural bodybuilding. And this one is going to be highlighting natural bodybuilding. So I'm really excited for that, just to show everyone how the Natural Olympia went and just like get everyone excited that like to be healthy, not.
Yeah.
You don't need to be unhealthy to be a bodybuilder. Like it takes more time.
Well, I think people think all bodybuilders are healthy, but when
and
they're
that's what's
injecting these
frustrating, they're trying to
these
promote,
toxins into their body.
Yeah, they're trying to promote health and wellness,
Yeah.
and then they're training people thinking, "Oh, I can look like this person." No, you cannot. You cannot look like that person.
Not naturally.
Not
and
naturally.
yeah.
So
I love that.
That's coming out sometime this year. I don't know the exact time because they just came to my house last week or just recently.
Thursday and
Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday.
So you've
Thursday.
been busy this week.
Oh yeah, I was
It prepared, as I
crazy.
told her before, I was like, that helped her get ready for
There you go. Yeah, this
this
is nothing.
This is less
harsh
awkward. That
interview.
was
This is
really
an
awkward.
iPhone 11.
But yeah, it should be coming out this
11
year.
Max Plus.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Well, let us know when that does come out so we can make sure
Yeah.
anybody who watched or listened to this can follow up.
Yeah.
And we'll put it on. Ron will put it on. But what's your?
A lot of
handle on
underscores, so I'll
Instagram?
let you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Don't everyone have underscores? I don't know. It's fit underscore with underscore Tiff underscore Stosich. I think.
Okay.
See, I think.
That's like
How do you? I don't.
I think if you just type the words, that it'll come
like
up.
for
yeah.
for Chit Chat with Chiddy, it's just one word because underscores can be difficult to.
Because
That's
you
fine.
can't put
Search.
spaces. So then.
Right, so we just
Yeah.
it's
So
just
we
one
just
word.
left it.
It's just
Chit
no
Chat
space.
with
Chit Chat with
Chiddy.
Chiddy is ours.
I
I
have
can
a
just-
period in mine. Mine's Mindy's period mom life.
The only time it gets
all the
messy
same.
when you don't have the space or the underscore is if the first word ends with the same letter the second word begins
So that
with.
have. Yeah.
So fit with Tiff Stosh.
with
Stosich.
with Tiff, it would be like
Yeah.
2 T's in a row. That
Yeah, because with Mark
You'd be
Bell,
all right.
like
But,
he's a
I mean-
power lifter. I kept saying Mark's my belly, and my husband's like, that's
Listen.
not what it says. And I was like, what
You
does
have-
it say?
You have over 15,000 followers. I don't think we need to worry about what
Yeah.
how
Your
to change.
underscores have
Your
not been
underscores
a
are working
problem.
Fine, so
You're fine.
Sweet. Yeah. Fit with
But-
Tiff Stosich, just Tiffany Stosich.
we'll
I don't
put it
know.
in the description and we'll tag it on Instagram.
Okay.
We'll make sure.
Sounds good.
We're gonna send all 1,500 Chit Chat Chitty followers to you.
Perfect.
So many. Well, thanks again for being on. This is Chit Chat with Chiddy MD. I'm Jerry Chidester, Chidester,
No.
Chedster.
Terry
No,
Tidler.
Terry Tidler.
So,
That's
real
my
quick,
stage
funny
name.
story. And when he was in medical school and doing all this stuff, people always misspelled his name in the most atrocious ways.
So weird.
And so we just like to joke about all his different last
Yeah,
names
one of
because
them
they,
was
for
Terry
whatever
Tidler instead of
reason,
Jerry
Chidester is too difficult to spell. So
Guess so.
So next, we have a bunch more guests coming up. We're
Sid
really
Beer is the
excited.
next
We
one.
yeah,
Woo.
we're excited to have Sid Beer on. She is hilarious. One of my favorite funny people, but just an awesome person. And her husband is the reason why I got into buying shoes
And
the reason
cars.
you
my
have
car.
a BMW.
So
Cars
I'm gonna blame
and
her
shoes.
for that, and maybe.
I
but
told
we're
her
excited to have her on.
I
She's
told her to maybe bring
hilarious.
him so that
Yeah.
we can grill. Mindy can
Really
grill
good.
him on why he's a bad
good.
influence.
Oh, I've
No,
already,
you bring
I've already
him, I'm gonna
grilled
end up
him.
with a different
He's
car that
scared
day.
of me,
He's
I
gonna
think.
bring a new car, and I'll probably end up with it. No, I'm just kidding.
Probably.
He's a really
He
good
told him, he's like, go online and just build your own car and I'll order it.
salesman. And then you can see.
And
it.
then you
Wait,
can
is he
just,
like a dealer?
Yeah. He
Yeah.
works at a BMW.
and then he's like, then you can come in and see it. And I was like, I told him, I'm like, if you do that, I'm out. Like, I will walk out this door. Because if you build it and he orders it, you're going to buy it. I
If
know
build
you.
It, they will come.
Exactly.
true.
He's smart. He's
smart.
so smart
I
to
need
do
to learn
that.
from him.
He's a salesman.
Yeah.
It's good. Well, anyway, thanks for joining in, you guys. Remember that key word. It was a little bit earlier. If you watched it, you'll get it. And remember to comment. You may win an awesome lunch with me or a Quiznos. All right. See you guys later. Bye.
Chit Chat with Chiddy, Chidester MD, specialize in hand anesthetic surgery. Kick start my day, grab some Thai food on the way. Call me the taste bud surgeon as you watch me stuff my face. Rocket Jordans with my suit, I'm a true gentleman. BMW matted black, used to ride a minivan. Augment reality, upsize and get a lift. Give that nose a job if you really need to see it shift. Got them wrinkles running scared, kill them with some Botox. Keep your face looking fresh like my 50 pairs of shock. Chi-Town, Saudi Arabia, high school, college at the U. Loma Linda, USC, back to Utah round 2. Not just simply tight, like some creamer, I'm half and half. Watch me drop it like it's hot when you really need to laugh. 7-finger tummy tuck, everything in between. Hit me up on Instagram, create reality from a dream. Chit chat with Chitty. Chit chat with Chitty. Chit chat with Chitty. Chit chat with Chidester MD.